everybody. Today I'm going to do just a kind of a quick little video on rooting silicone. I've had people ask questions, and I thought I would just show you my method and how I do it. Obviously, rooting mohair is different than rooting alpaca, and this baby I had started rooting her with alpaca, which is much finer and smaller in diameter, and to me it's the most like actual baby hair. I use Cupid Falls Farms. I don't know how well you can see that. I have this zoomed in really tight so you can see what I'm doing, but Cupid Falls Farms is the needles I usually use. I also have the Nukem needles like this. Gosh, you can't even hardly see that. And I usually use a 46 gauge crown needle when I root silicone. You can also use, you could use a 42 gauge as well. I am generally a rooter that uses a fork needle, but I don't use it on silicone. It's the only type of medium that I don't use it on. That's the only needle that I usually use on vinyl, however. And then I have some Silk Effects mohair. I have some dark, it's a deepest dark brown alpaca, and it's beautiful if you've not used her hair. I start off, I cut the length of the hair a couple inches long. I think I cut my hair longer than a lot of people do, and that's completely okay. So I cut my hair, and then I get just a little swatch. I always like to try and comb out the ends a little bit, hoping that the little hairs will kind of fall away. But I get just a small batch of hair. Again, I'm so close to what my work is that I don't know if you can even see what I'm showing. But just a little patch of hair. And you're going to have to bear with me here because I have to try and see these hairs and root clear in front of my camera. Okay, so you lay out your pattern, your rooting map, however you like it. I do have another video on how to map. I usually use a washable magic marker. That's what's on here right now. And this has actually been sitting on this head for probably 2 months, but it does wipe right off. So you can see I've wiped some off on here already. Anyhow, it won't stain your silicone. So I put an angle on my needle, okay, just like I would with vinyl. However, I'm not going to go straight in at that angle, because if I do, the hair wants to stand up off of the scalp, and you do not want that. You want the hair to lay flat. So when you get your hair, I put pressure onto the head like this, and I go straight in underneath the surface, and you can actually see where the needle's at, and pull out. And when you do that, your hair lays very flat. Okay, I'll show you again. So grab your hair and then just go right under the surface. And if you come out the other side, which I've done that a million times, don't panic. You can just tug on the hair and pull that hair back into the silicone. When you do it this way, it also has the whole section there is trapped in that silicone, and it makes it much harder to pull out. So again, grab the hair and put pressure against the scalp and go in and come out. And I know that as fine and as tiny as this hair is, you probably are not seeing the hair actually go in, but it is in. Sometimes too, it helps to put pressure against your needle and bend it a little bit, so that way it's got a kind of a spooned edge on it. it makes it easier too to get the hairs where you want them. When I first started, I had tried rooting with some alpaca. Alpaca has more texture and more fiber, or more texture to the fiber. And so alpaca will generally lay nicer if you don't have the correct angle. If you try to root mohair the same way, like slightly incorrectly, like going too deep, it'll stand up. It just will. So always make sure you push down onto the silicone and travel under the surface as much as you can. Not, not very deep. You want to stay pretty shallow. That one, I got more than one hair. I don't even have my proper rooting glasses on. I'm just trying to do as much of this as I can for you to see the angles that I use. So it's just slightly different from rooting on vinyl. Like I said, on vinyl, you find a nice angle and you just go straight in. But this is a little fussier. You just need to stay closer to the surface when you root. All right. If anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to drop them in the comments. You can even private message me on Facebook if you follow me there, and I'd be happy to help. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.